What a Grant McCann effect is in full flow over at Linfield as they join us on a perfect league record heading into December. We're not focusing on that today though. We're both going well in the Europa League and we've got a tough game on the road tonight. And then less than 48 hours later, we've got a big game in my favourite competition. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 145 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today with just 1 point separating the top 4 in the Irish Prem, but let's be completely honest about it here. There's only 2 teams in a race, but what's happened at Linfield? They've bolstered the squad, they've got in a big name manager, and to be fair, they're scoring goals for fun. Maybe this is where Ryan Dunn was holding them back. A few too many 0-0 draws in the league, a much lower goal difference. Well, at the moment, they're level on points with us, the perfect record, and just 6 behind on goal difference as well. They are thrashing teams and looking good. They're also doing all right in Europe. We'll see how they get on tonight as we go away to Lille, who are doing very well so far, as you can see. 4th v 3rd in a long league phase. And then just over a day and a half later, you'll get to see some of the players that haven't featured much in episodes this season, as we host St Johnstone in the SPFL trophy. If you're looking forward to all of that, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. As I've mentioned before a few times here, and you can see Lille are affected by it, where we've loaded those leagues midway through because this save did start in a beta. Again, they've not appointed a manager. I don't know what it is, but hopefully it's something we won't have to worry about next year. Now we've upgraded the PC. We can have the leagues from the start. But for now, we have got a load of games to reflect on. So let's get to the schedule because you have not been here since Copenhagen and Inverness, and we have played a bucket load since. You can see we drew 1, but it was part of a 2-legged revenge mission, and we've done really well in Europe with a perfect record so far. Albeit, 2 of these last 3 games are by far the toughest on paper. So you were with me for the 2 at the start of October. Since then, we won 5-1 at Loughborough in the League Cup. That was a Morgan Griffiths hat-trick back from injury. Dunn and Scully won apiece. 4-0 to score in a Shield semi-final. Again in the international break, it was Morgan Griffiths with 2 more. Lisburn one off the bench. Stephen Cowan got 1 as well. An early red card really helped us there. I'm pretty sure Griffiths was a rebound from a penalty, if I remember rightly. Against Cliftonville in a league, a 3-0 win. Cowan, Jude and Lisburn with first half goals. Another red card for Cliftonville in that one. Before a 4-0 win for the reserves against Coleraine. Tennant Dykes getting a rare outing and scoring the opener. Jonathan Morrison great in goal. Then Owen Kidd and 2 for Stephen Cowan. Against Portimonense away in Portugal, it was Johnny Merrival Austin back with a brace. He will be back on the bench today, but we keep having those little problems with knocks. He got 2 against Portadown as well as we won 5-0 in a league. Vladimir, Lisburn and Howard also got 1 apiece. Lisburn then opened the scoring against Glentoran, a game in which Vladimir scored again, as did Cowan and Paul Elliott, before a win at Ludogorets by the same score, 4-1. This time a Jordan Howard hat-trick with Luke Smith scoring a header. A 3-0 win followed at home to Warren Point, that was in the League Cup quarter-final. Howard, Vladimir and Griffiths with 1 apiece. A 1-1 draw in the Irish Champions Cup final, that was Johnny Merrival Austin with a penalty. A 3-2 win at Linfield in a tight Shield semi-final. 1 for Merrival Austin, 2 for Stow. You can see our former man Rory Lennon and our Northern Ireland star Mackie both getting a goal for Linfield. Really good game that, and you can see they've improved going forward. A 4-1 win against a poor Portadown side with Murphy, Scully's brace and Cowan. A big win against Slavia Prague in the Europa League. They had no real players, it wasn't a playable league. It was always going to be one of the easier ones. Scully with 3, Cowan, Vladimir, Bird and Howard with 1 each. And a 3-0 win in the second leg against Derry City. Merrival lost in Scully and Carr. It was so comfortable. Why couldn't we have played like that back in August in a Champions League qualifier? But I'm looking at the Europa League and thinking, can we go on a big run here? Crusaders were beaten 5-0 on Saturday. Cowan, McKenzie, Scully, Vladimir and Houston. And now we've got Lille away from home. The reserves will play against St Johnstone. And then a League Cup semi-final before the festive fixtures in the Irish Prem. And of course, it's a crazy schedule as you'd expect. We finished December with the away game at Linfield, which is basically going to be a title decider. Now they've got to the stage where they're winning every game as well. Those Linfield ones are going to be crucial. We'll show the second one against them this year, as it's part of a double header just 3 days before Bournemouth. And with the money that comes in for Europe, I've probably still got to prioritise that. If we don't win away at Linfield, I might have to change my mind on that front. We've still had the nagging problems with injuries. We've got most of them back now, actually, but we've got 6 players recently returned from injury. You can see LIFIELD'S had another one, Merivale, Austin, Collier, Elliott, none of them back to full fitness. Kyle Carter had a little knock as well. And he's just constant 3 or 4 week ones. It's really frustrating. But we know January's round the corner. And last time, the effects that had on morale for the players that wanted to leave and were getting headhunted from Premier League clubs, it caused that knock-on effect that put us out of the Champions League. So we've got to try and be careful on this occasion. I'll very quickly show you the internationals as well, because it's big news on that front. For the first time, we are into the top tier of the Nations League. We picked up 14 points with 2 draws against Turkey, 2 wins against Romania and Hungary. And more importantly, bit of a change in the guard. We had Donnelly injured for the most part. So David Close, who's featuring a fair bit for Hull off the bench, came in and got himself a few goals. And we also had Connor Brown in there as our regular centre-half, and he's developing no end. So great to see them getting regular football at championship level, and great to see them developing, because we need these stars to come through. We've got a couple in the nation already now in the likes of Monaghan at right back, and we need to make it 5, 6 or 7 of them. But now though, it's back to domestic action. Lille versus Distillery. Let's see how we get on. Linfield are at home to Rangers the same night. They've got 9 points already, so you'd imagine with one more win they'll get through. It's just whether they can sneak in that top 8. But with a tough game tonight, that might be difficult. Let's get through the tactical meeting. Let's see who we can put out tonight. A couple of players need to be closed down for them. They've got some big stars in the team. And for us, well, let's get through the team selection. I am not taking the gamble of playing any of the unfit players from the start. We've been cost a few times trying to do that before. So with the busy festive period coming up, probably be a lot of substitute appearances for those that have been injured recently. And that means that our 11 for today is basically what you'd expect defensively, the back 7, but probably Vladimir and Dunn, the 2 slight surprises, with LIFIELD'S still out and unfortunately not quite back to enough fitness to play from the start. The same applies to Merivale Austin. So our 11 in full is Morrison in goal, who is really coming into his own now, improving, looking good. But of course, if Hassan does become available in January, he might well end up being off again, because it's a great chance to get a brilliant homegrown player. In defence, we've got a back 4 of Reed, Smith, McKenzie and Stow, all of them back to happiness and with new contracts now. And Gash and Jude, the midfield 2, Cowan and Vladimir out wide. And then Damien Dunn really improving in that number 10 position. He is behind Mark Scully, who, to be fair, the injuries have had an impact on his ability this year. He's going backwards if anything, but he's 6 for 8, he's still brilliant. I'm still trusting him to get the goals. 11 at this stage, not many for him. Let's see if that changes tonight. Well, it's a bit strange, but Lille again affected by only having the 6 subs. They've got more players at the club, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Rigal, the captain, is brilliant. Costa off the left-hand side is very strong. For the rest of the team, I don't know a huge amount about. I do know that Costa was in the best 50 players in the world, because one of you mentioned that Scully might be in for a Ballon d'Or this year. I had a look, he wasn't in the top 50. So let's get through the dressing room. We know about the manager issue. This is just whether we can win. And of course, it does come down to this glitch with the manager. But I'm hoping that we'll be able to get over the line, because we've got to be selfish and ruthless at this point. Let's get through the tunnel interview, through the music. We'll be back in a minute for first half highlights. Well, of course, we will keep a close eye on how Linfield do in this game, but for now, it's Gavin Reed carrying it down the right to Vladimir. He switches to Gash, who's beating his defender. Oh, it's a poor back pass. It was a little under hit, but he got away with it. The keeper does well. Out they come to the left-hand side. You can probably see already they're going to be a bit better on the ball. Technically, a little bit of an upgrade from some of the other teams in the group and taking advantage of space in behind. Weirdly, they're playing someone else off the left, not Costa. But my word, you can see why. What a goal that is. Individual magic. The best team we've played in this group by a long way. And you're seeing the effects of that already. That is a sublime solo goal. It's not even one of the 2 stars. Linfield behind already as well. Maybe we've both bet our match today, because Rangers, playable league from the start. None of the issues affecting them. Big club with a big budget. And Lille, Well, they're looking very good at the minute. They nearly score another there, but Scully manages to get it away. And with 20 gone, be honest, I'm pretty happy it's only one. I mean, the good news is we've beaten all the other teams, so we'll be through in some guys regardless now. But it would be great if we could get a few more points on the board. Keep picking up the prize money. Keep making up for the coefficient of Lille not being in the groups. As here we come down the left with Vladimir. There's options in the middle. Can we now find the big men? That looked like a foul. Stahl gets there from the advantage though. And Mark Scully nods in. That's why you have a 6'8" striker. He's a threat against anyone. I've got to say, if this counts, by the way, an apology to the referee, because it was a stunning advantage. I was getting spitting feathers a little bit about what was going on out there. He played the advantage. The goal counts. It's a great cross in from Stahl. And Mark Scully, he rises above everyone. And no matter what level of football you're playing at, no matter what the level of the opposition, if you've got someone who's 6'8", you have always got a chance. Let's go and get through the halftime team talk. Well done, lads. We'll take a point. Let's get into the second. See if we can hold on for it. As we've got a free kick on the right with Jude. It might get even better. Up to Scully again, who loses it this time. Cleared away, and now Lille. Bit of a one-man counter-attack there. It's out to the right-hand side, though. And there are men eventually coming to support. As Regal gets it in the middle, out to the right wing. There is support again. Mackenzie on a yellow. Be careful. Costa, who he highlighted pre-match, plays a good ball into the striker. Chipped up to him again, but Mackenzie wins it. There's still a threat, though. They've got a little bit of pressure on us here. The ball in deflects. It's well done by Morrison in the end. I'm not sure it was going to creep in, but was definitely a threat. So well done from him. Keeps it safe. And it stays 1-1. But Lille, as you can see, probably just edging this game. Now Smith gets it to Reed. We look to play out. And hopefully we can find a goal. If not, we can bring on some of our big hitters in a minute. You can see probably our two worst performers going forward are Dunn and Vladimir. And both of their first choice replacements are available. As Gash gets down the right. My plan was to play them on Saturday, to be honest. So I didn't want to overwork them here. As Gavin Reed. Oh my word. First goal of the season. Where has that come from? Barely ever scores. It's a lovely team move, some great passing and stuff. But once Gavin Reed picked it up, he did what the Lille winger did earlier. Just ran past people for fun. Composed finish into the corner. And now we're 2-1 up. It's against the run of play over the course of this match, but we'll take it. Lille have had the better of it by far. But a brilliant solo goal and a big towering header at the moment is enough. As Linfield go 2 down, we're going to make some changes. Mackenzie, not having the best game, we'll bring on Bird for him. I wanted to leave it past 70 because we want these guys who are coming on to be fit for Saturday, which is what? 44 hours away at most. We're going to bring Jude off, who's knackered for... Oh, who do I go? I'm going to drop Damien Dunn in, you know. And then number 10 will go Merival Austin. I'm also going to bring on Cowan for Paul Elliott. We'll bring back all of the injured lads. Vladimir off for Misselidis. And we'll save one in case of injury. Because at 2-1 up here, now we've got something to cling on to. I don't want to end up down to 10. So let's cling on for now. Gash is struggling physically, as is Dunn. Both fullbacks the same. I'm going to take off Damien Dunn, I think, because he is just at the end of it here. We've not got many options on the bench, and I don't really know what to do. Maybe Collier. I think he's the best option. Again, just back from injury, and it's not ideal. Maybe not the game for Houston, this. It'll start at the weekend. But now, let's just try and get through this. I mean, even now, we've got to the 89th minute. We should get at least a point, which would be a great result. As Scully gets in, it's a good challenge. Well cleared away by Costa. Here is Lacoste on halfway. Carries it forward. We could be in trouble here. Barrera down the right. There's 3 in the middle. They're piling up to finish it. And Lacoste thunders against the post. Keeper was beaten. The woodwork, thankfully, was not. It might have just saved us in this game. As Angeli clears long. It's a nervy finish. We've got the time wasting on, but it's not worked. As Lacoste. Oh, that's delightful. That is absolutely delightful for Mail Lacoste. What a dink over the goalkeeper. I mean, I've not seen a finish like that for a while. That is classy. That is the Lille quality. And they've scraped a point right at the end here. Maybe we went defensive a bit too early. Maybe we time wasted our way into trouble. But that's a really good goal. And maybe it's just the individual quality they've got. You've got to be fair to them. The 2 goals they've scored have been absolutely stunning. And they're not done yet. They've got 90 seconds and they're trying to win this. They get it out to the right with the skipper. Mulan with a big ball forward. Smith's not there. Lacoste is in. Oh, it's a good save, Morrison. The rebound, no. Great block from Bird. Off the line, it keeps us level. And now a point would be one hell of a result because we are right under the cosh. This is a proper football team we're playing now. We'll get this against Bournemouth as well in the next episode. But this has been a proper test. It's been a great game of football. And here is Costa in the middle. Out to the left-hand side. They're still going Lille. They're throwing everything at us in fairness to them. But we're clinging on for now as Reed, a right back, loses possession. That's poor. Into the back post. It's headed in. Oh, it was coming. It was definitely coming. And Lille turn it around. A 3-2 win for them. Probably deserved on the balance of the game. But from where we were in the 89th minute, from where we were in the 91st, to be fair, that is a heartbreaking defeat. Still a little bit off those very top sides. But thankfully, we're already through. A win at home to Red Start will see us in the top 8. And then we can focus on the latter stages. Well, very quickly, we return for more fitness tests. And we've got to be careful with this one because a lot of those boys who have come back from injury are fit for 45 minutes, as you can see with Elliot and Lisburn. But you only get 3 subs in this competition. And with that added risk of extra time, we've got to be careful with how we deploy them. In the end then, a pretty simple decision actually when it comes to the returning players. We've brought both wingers back from the start. They'll do 45 to 50 minutes in this game. On the bench, we've got Collier. We've also got Miraval Austin. What it does mean though is for our backup 11, we've got a couple of returning unfit players. One who wouldn't normally even be in the backup 11. And we've got one first team up between the sticks as well because Jim Morrison, I had to play, particularly given the fact he might be off in January. We've got another cup game in midweek where we can rotate the keeper. I thought I had to play him against Scottish opposition. Murphy and Carter fullbacks with Kidd and Bird at centre-half. I mean, it's not a bad backup defence, this is it. Thompson comes in rather than Collier alongside Houston in centre midfield, who is still improving remarkably. It's going to be a good investment, this, I can tell. We've got Elliot and Lisburn returning out wide. Griffiths, the informed man, as the number 10. And Howard, the top scorer this season up front. Hopefully, he'll be able to add to his tally. On the bench, as we mentioned, we've got a real mix. So I think we'll be all right today. But we've got to get off to a good start. And if we can avoid a silly red card, that would be pretty nice too. Well, here we go then. 3 changes for our visitors, who we've got a warning to close down Andy Gemmell, which we'll do. He is their left back and captain. I'm looking at the rest of the team. I don't think there's any older heads in there. Kevin Bradford, the keeper, is a man to watch out for. Future Northern Ireland #1 goalkeeper is his potential destination. He is the best of a young crop coming through. I'm hoping that with the same potential as a Close and a Brown, that with this year of first team football on loan from Celtic, he will start to make it. For us though, it's straight into the first half. A far more positive outlook in this game. St Johnstone have brought a fair few over, as you can see from that away end. But our home attendances are definitely growing. Our reputation might take another boost this summer, and that would be great for us. But still, we've got our own concerns because you may have seen it there. A little knock to Jordan Howard at the start. I'm not going to take him off this early because the only other options are to bring Dykes on the left-hand side and put Lisburn up front, or to take off Howard for Miraval Austin. And I don't want either of them to do 75 or 80 minutes. So going to get Howard through to half-time. It wasn't a bad knock. It was a bruise, I think. So we've not got to worry about him having a longer-term injury if we leave him on. What we have got to worry about is the fact that we haven't had a shot on target. And St Johnstone are doing pretty well here. No highlight really for 35 minutes by that little header over the bar at the start. And now we are growing into it. But I've had to drop to balanced again. So a suggestion that our backup team is not quite as confident against Scottish Championship opposition. Our shooting has not been good enough. We'll complain about that. I am going to have to bring off Howard now. And I've got to bring off the other 2 soon as well. I'm going to go for Miraval Austin. Or do I give it 15 in between? No, I'm going to bring Dykes on for now. Then at the hour mark, we'll go for Miraval Austin. And I don't know who else actually. Because now we've got to bring off the front 3. Whereas the plan was to leave Howard on and only take 2 of them off. So we'll come to that when we get there. But for now, let's just go and get into the second half, take off the injured man, and hopefully find a way through here. As Murphy, we did finish the half better without having any highlights for it. Finds Paul Elliott, the Northern Irishman. Gets down the line. He's got options in the box. Lisburn is still huge. We know that. As Murphy cuts it inside to Thompson. Not the best technically, but his cross falls for Dykes. Oh, Lisburn wouldn't have missed that. falls for him at the back post. He heads wide of an empty net. That's really poor. And with 55 gone, now Dykes has picked up an injury. Now this does throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Do I take him off as well because he's hampered by it? And then if so, who do I gamble on out of Elliott and Lisburn? I would argue it's more important that Lisburn stays fit. So he's going to come off for Merivale Austin. I've got no real choice but to bring on Lewis Scott for Tennant Dykes. And he's going to become a traditional winger on attack, which is our only real option. It's not really what I was hoping to do with today, to be honest. But now we're in a spot of bother. Owen Kidd is having a poor game, which has happened a few times recently. With half an hour to go, we're out of changes. So let's hope there's no more knocks. But has been a recurring theme this season. I've changed nothing on the physical front. Maybe it's new staff adapting and the medical team. Maybe it is the fact that where we've had a worse balance of fixtures with Thursday nights again, that recovery time's just not worked out. I don't know, but it's not been an ideal first half of the year on the medical front. As McGrath gets it to Gemmell. Here comes St Johnstone. At least we are closing him down, as was recommended. But I say that now, Elliott's nicks it off him, and Scott can get away with it. A rare appearance for him. Can he do something special on it? Just play short to Houston. It's a sensible ball. That one's a better one to Merivale Austin. Paul Elliott stays on, and he wins the penalty kick. Gemmell brings him down. He nicked the ball off him, and apparently Elliott went down like he'd been shot, but I'm not going to complain. Merivale Austin is back in the team after injury, and this time makes no mistake from the penalty spot. Smashes it into the bottom corner. Keeper went the right way, but had no chance. And it is 1-0 to Lisburn Distillery after a pretty average performance. But you cannot argue that after the first half an hour and that tactical change to balance, we have been on top. Albeit St Johnstone at the other end, and they've probably got the bigger team on now. Our usual big left winger has been replaced by Lewis Scott. We've got Merivale Austin up front, who is still half a foot shorter than his normal man. And where he would normally play, we've got a 5 foot something in Morgan Griffiths. As here is Morrison in goal, taking his time, being professional. With 15 to go, this becomes about getting through. It's the usual problem at this time of the year. You're not going to get the smashing wins because you can't get a cohesive side out. You're rotating 10, 11 players every 3 days, and you've just got to get the job done. So wins are all that matter at the minute, particularly with Linfield going 100%. As Thompson gets in behind to Elliott, this could seal it. Can we keep Elliott fit? His condition's awful now. Murphy back to Thompson. Murphy again. Gets to the byline. Cuts back. Got to find someone. Thompson's there. Blocked off the line by Dean Carr. That name rings a bell. Did we try to sign him in the past? As Merivale Austin just hooks it forward. This is going to be a tense finale, isn't it? Carr gets it inside to Doherty. St Johnstone bringing it forward. Houston heads away. Does well to Griffiths. And Merivale Austin. Through ball to Lewis Scott. Very rarely makes an appearance. But he's turned up with a big goal there. First of the season for him. He scored one against Linfield last season or the year before, didn't he? Loves a little goal. And he's popped up with his one a season today. And it's one that relaxes me in truth. It gets us through to whatever the next round is. The semi-final? No, the quarter-final. I mean, he's a rubbish player by this standard now. He wants to go at the end of the year. He wants a new challenge. And he's finishing his 4. But on that occasion, he looked far more composed than his attributes would suggest. A 2-0 win is a very good result. Did not look like it was going to finish that way for the first half an hour. But we get through it. Let's see if the injuries are okay. And hopefully, we can plan for January deadline day, when we're next hoping to be back. Well, unfortunately, in my favourite competition, Linfield did not recover. They played reserves against Albion Rovers and lost on penalties. But of course, Thursday nights in Europe more important to them. Coleraine go top of the Irish Premiership with Neil Daly part of their side, but they've lost 5 games. We're not going to drop 15 points. Let's have a look at the injuries to Tennant Dykes. He's out a month. Okay, that is a bit of a problem for us because we're still having troubles on that left-hand side. Jordan Howard, thankfully, only 1 to 3 days for a bruise. He will be absolutely fine. Forfar is arguably an easier draw next time, albeit they've improved in his save. They're 5th in the Scottish Championship. But we're not going to worry about any of that. We will be back for the final 2 games of January, plus deadline day. It is Linfield at home in what is now becoming a bigger game because Linfield have caught us domestically. They are winning every single match as are we, and the Linfield v Distillery games will now officially settle the title. Bournemouth at home in the Europa League, English opposition, a big side doing really well. That's going to be the hardest game of the group. I hope you're looking forward to that. Let me know if you're impressed with Linfield in the league, because it's not something we've seen from the AI too often. If you're looking forward to seeing what happens for the rest of the year, whether we get hit by the morale problems in January, will the dynamics take a dive if we get offers for some of our stars? I'm hoping not, now they've all just signed new deals, but we'll wait and see. If you want to find out the answer and you enjoyed this one, please do add a thumbs up to the video, subscribe down below for daily FM23 content. Tomorrow, in other news, could be the final episode or regular episode of the head coach story this year. It is one not to miss, as was yesterday's. You can find that in the eye above, and make sure you come and join me tomorrow. If that is the case, we will have a new series very soon. Our usual specials continuing on Sunday as well. All of the key links in the eye above, as well as the Twitch channel. F1 Manager out today. We'll be streaming that loads over the next week. And our podcast pre-season predictions for the EFL, they start today as well. Check them out in the eye above. A massive thank you for watching though. Your support is always appreciated. Anything else you can't find is in the description below. And I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time. Hopefully for a smoother transfer window. And also to find out just how much of a test this Linfield side are going to be.